Okay, we are live on Facebook. Hi, everybody. Good evening, and sincere apologies for starting late. We had a few technical issues to sort out. Hi, Jamin. Can you hear me? We are live.
Yes, I can. I can hear you. Hi.
Okay. I know we have postponed this session quite a lot of times. Sincere apologies to everyone watching. For always postponing the session. We're finally having it, and I'm super excited. So, since we have spent too much of time, I'm not going to waste too much time again. But I just want to tell you about the prompt engineering lab. So, prompt engineering lab. If you go to the YouTube channel, we have a couple of playlists, and there's one called Prompt Engineering Lab, which houses all kinds of prompt engineering sessions. So far, we've had like two or three, and today we'll be having a session on prompt engineering for technical writers. So, if you're a technical writer and you're interested in learning how to prompt as a technical writer, then you definitely do need to stay on this live stream to the very end while I introduce our amazing speaker for today who will be taking over the stage, Jamin. um, so yeah, the floor is over to you. Jamin is a senior technical writer and developer advocate at Upload and he is going to be in charge of today's session. Hi, Jamin. The floor is over to you.
Hi, Bella. How you doing? Hi, everyone. Um, I don't know
Okay.
what time you'll be listening to this, so I hope you're having a very good day or you had a good day. So, um, I'm supposed to just keep talking right now, Abby?
Yeah, the session has started. So
Okay.
your session
Okay.
has started already.
So, hi, everyone. And my name is Jamin, and I currently work as a senior technical writer for Upload Care. So, what we do is we're a file uploading service. We help people upload files in the applications better so you don't have to worry about file upload, optimization, and things like that. So, yeah, that's me. And today I'm going to be talking to you about prompt engineering for technical writers. So, it's more like I feel like this should be an interactive session now, or more like just a real life session of how I use AI for writing instead of me preparing a slide. So I don't have a slide, although I have like a notes where I wrote down a few things from my head, but I don't have a slide, and we're going to jump right into it. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll be very happy to answer them. And we're going to see how we can practice. So a few things we're going to cover. We're going to cover how you can use AI for writing technical content, how not to use AI for writing technical content, some best practices to follow, some strategies that I've seen that actually works when using AI that you can also like incorporate into your own writing flow and all that. And also the kind of flow that you can have or adopt when trying to use AI in your writing flow and some AI tools that you could like leverage on. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. And I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen right now, so you guys can just follow along. Don't show the tips again. Share screen. I should share my entire screen. I'm using the new OS, and this thing looks weird. So, can you guys see my screen? Hide, 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 hide,
Yes,
hide.
yes, yes. Your screen is
Okay,
live.
okay, my screen is like that's good. All right, so let's move on. So today we're going to be talking about prompt engineering, and I'm not going to dwell about what is prompt engineering, blah 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 blah, and things like that. I believe you guys already know what it is. So I created more like a very simple note here. I'm going to expand this a little bit. Let's see if I can zoom into this. Oh, can I? I can't. Yeah, I'm supposed to. Yeah, I can. Okay, so now that I've zoomed into this, let's see how we can like make this happen. So yeah, so first off, let's talk about what you can use AI for. So I'm going to be hiding each part of what I'm talking about, so it's easy for us to focus on one thing at a time. So I want you to think of AI tools, ChatGPT, Cloud, Google Gemini, whatever tool you're using, whatever AI tool you're using. I want you to think of them not as technical writers, but as tools that can help you speed up your writing process. So before now, the idea of technical writing, when you want to write a new article, you first need to like find the content idea that you want to write, or possibly you have the content idea. You need to come up with a what's it called, an outline for what you want to write, and when you have the outline you then need to like start writing your first draft, and that is where you start having writer's block. You start having confusion on, oh, what do you start with, what do you write first, how do you begin with, what's the first sentence you're writing. When you use AI for all of this, it sort of like eliminates those blockers that you have. It's basically speeds up the whole work process of you writing and doing things. So a couple of things you can use AI for is, one, you can use it for generating your first draft. You can also use it for generating an outline of the article that you'll be writing. And AI is also good for paraphrasing as well. So maybe you have a sentence, you want to rewrite the sentence to show a different tone or something like that. You can use AI to do that. And then one cool part is that, oh, whenever you're trying to write a new article and you're having blockers on, you don't know what to write. You're basically thinking of, oh, what can I start with? What can I do? You can use AI for finding content ideas. You can tell him to generate 150 content ideas relating to a topic that you like, or relating to something that you're working on, or relating to something that your company covers. It can generate those content ideas for you. It's then left for you to refine them and things like that. And also for SEO optimization, it's very good for that. It can generate a very optimized title depending on the prompt you give to it, an optimized title, an optimized description, keywords as well, and things like that. You can literally use AI to generate all of those things, so you don't have to worry about that, which is good actually, because this will help to speed up the whole process of you trying to, do all of these things from the very beginning. Now, these are good, which you can do. These are good things that you can do. Let's also talk about what you cannot do or what you should not do when you're using AI for technical writing. So one of the things that you shouldn't do is that you shouldn't use AI to write the full article that you're writing. Yeah, don't use AI to write the full article that you're writing. It's going to come off as a AI written article. And the funny thing is that people tend to see an AI written article, and they will know. And it's way worse when you're writing a developer focused topic and then you're using AI for it. Developers are not dumb. They're one of the smartest people existing. So they will quickly tell from the very beginning, they will tell if this article is AI generated or if it's not. So to maintain the quality, the originality, and also to build trust between whoever wants to read your article and the article that you wrote, you have to implement a few limitations. They should be as strict as possible. One, AI should not write full articles without any human intervention. That should never happen in any article that you're writing. Two, AI can never replace subject matter expertise. So, what I mean by this is that for every topic, the reason why you're a technical writer is because people have seen that, oh, you are you have an expertise in a specific topic, in a specific matter. That is why they employ you to write for them. For example, you might be a good technical writer in DevOps related matter, Kubernetes, and all that. The reason is because you're quite good at in Kubernetes, DevOps, and things like that. That is why you were hired as a technical writer to write about those kind of topics. So why AI is smart enough to know things about this, it should not and cannot replace that subject matter expert in the whole article context. So that person has to be there to be able to guide the conversation to make sure that, oh, whatever article an AI tool writes, it should have that, idea there. So, thirdly, don't use AI to create your final draft, especially when you're working on sensitive topics. These sensitive topics like legal compliance and things like that, it should be 100% reviewed by a human. I'm telling you this now. The reason I'm saying this is that if you give AI to write sensitive topics and then it start hallucinating and start assuming facts and things like that, and they add that to your legal compliance, one, your company can be sued depending on what you're writing. Your company can be sued. Two, it will lead to misinterpretation of what your company holds there and things like that. And three, your employers might start seeing you like, oh, you don't have enough skill set to write for them, because they have employed. The reason why you were employed was because people felt like, oh, you are an expert in this matter. So you using AI to write things that should be reviewed by a human, basically, it's a red flag. Basically, points out the red flag. When I work, we support using AI for a lot of things. You can use it for writing, you can use it for writing code, you can use it for whatever you want. But at the same time, there should be a human to review and also to make sure that whatever you're doing is reviewed by a human so it doesn't hallucinate and give wrong values. And lastly, do not allow AI cannot invent or assume facts. Always provide the facts or provide the data that it needs to work. If you don't provide it, you start seeing hallucination, you start seeing it assuming facts, assuming records that do not exist anywhere in the internet. So all of these things are things you shouldn't use AI for, and in no situation should there be anywhere where you are going against any of these rules to make sure that okay, AI does this and it moves on. It might work for you in some cases, but if you start trusting AI enough to do that, then you might get into trouble. So now that we've known, okay, what you can do, what you cannot do, the next question is, okay, so how do you use it? How do you use AI for writing a an article? You want to write an article, you want to draft something very good. How do you use it? So there's one thing I will always say is that context is king. We used to say content is king when writing articles. That is good. But when it comes to using AI tools, LLMs and things like that, uh, the thing is, context is key. The more context you provide to an AI tool, the more it gets to know what it should do for you, the more it provides a more effective result. So provide as much context as possible. Tell it where you are, what you're doing, what you want it to do for you, how specific you want it to be, and things like that. I think I have an example of the kind of context I use for some of my articles. Not all of them are AI like assisted. Some of them are written by me, but whenever I try to use AI for like prompting to get a first draft or something, there are certain things I do. So, how do you use it? One, provide as many contexts as possible. Two, provide the brand voice that you want. So, every one of us, the way we write, we have a very unique brand voice that will write our articles. It's possible that you're writing for a company and the company has a brand voice. That, oh, you guys are trying to be as friendly as possible, not very formal, very informal, friendly, at the same time passing the message. You crack jokes sometimes when writing an article and things like that. Provide that brand voice. Tell LLMs to follow that brand voice, else they'll start giving you whatever they want. Two, thirdly, also provide the data that they need. So you need them to talk about your API, and you're not providing a link to the documentation of your API. You're providing them as much data as they need to be able to like come up with the technical content you want them to you want it to generate. It won't happen. So provide the data and then provide the pattern. So there are specific patterns where okay, how do you structure your article? Does your article go from introduction, the pros and cons of doing something, the benefits of doing this, and a comparison, and then a conclusion? What pattern of articles do you write? What pattern of documentation do you write? How does the documentation pattern look like? Provide that pattern as much as possible so it can learn from it and to provide you with a very good answer. So, lastly, you can see I said provide as much information as possible. The reason I'm saying this is so that it will be able to context when you're trying to use LLMs for writing. Context is everything. So provide as many information as much as possible. Provide as many be as detailed enough as possible, so it will know, okay, what are you going to do, what are you doing, and things like that. So these are some of the ways that you can apply to use it, so it doesn't flop on you. So we will cover more of this. I will show you guys how to like provide as many contexts as possible and also things like that and how you can use it. But then I also want to jump to a specific part. Yeah. In terms of like, the kind of workflows that you can use when using AI. So we've talked about the things that you can do with AI and how you can do that. So, but then let's also cover like, okay, how does a flow look like? How do you go from, okay, I have this topic idea that I want to write about. I want to write about XYZ thing. And how do I start with prompting an AI or an NLM model to provide me with the data I need or with the article I need? So, first, you can use the AI for support tasks, which include drafting outlines, finding ideas to write, or rewriting for the tone or key optimization, or to expand or summarize specific session. And then when you've done that, you can then rewrite it to suit your own needs as a human. So manually you rewrite the LLM's output or AI's output as you need, so that you make sure it is adhering to the standard of writing that you have. So every company or everyone has a specific standard of writing that they have, and how the style they write and things like that. So you have to rewrite the whole AI article to make sure that it fits that needs, and also it certain instructions doesn't look like AI written. So after you do that, the next thing you need to do is to fact check everything, because LLMs hallucinate a lot. So because due to that hallucination, try to verify all the facts, the figures, the quotes, and examples. This has happened to me a couple of times before. I used to think that, okay, yeah, I check for facts and I also check for quotes and examples. There was one thing I wasn't checking for a while back, which was figures, numbers. So, fun fact: LLMs are quite dumb, or should I say, are quite lame. They are quite lame when it comes to like calculations and maths and things like that. So, do not rely on an LLM model like ChatGPT, Cloud, or anybody to write a complete maths for you or to do a calculation that will be very accurate. Always check those calculations to make sure that whatever you're saying is the correct thing. So, and then for the final review, edit for the SEO, edit for the style, read everything, and also check the compliance with your company's content guidelines to make sure that, okay, it's okay and it's working as fine as possible. Now you might be wondering why you should do all of these things. Well, you can actually generate AI content and just go free. It's fine, you can do that. But the reason why this matters is that um, Google SEO, Google now integrates specific algorithms into their search engine, that they now have penalties for sites that publish low quality articles that are mostly AI generated. So whenever a Google crawler is crawling through your content, one of the things they check for, aside from the normal Google kind of things, it's they check to see how authentic is your content, how real life examples do your content have, how authentic, how is your content an AI generated one, do the phrases in your content sound like, okay, welcome in a fast-paced world of the highly impossible this, do they sound like that? When it's like that, Google will reduce the ranking that they're trying to rank that article, or that they are trying to rank that piece, and it won't pop out when people are searching for it. And then trust and authority. Whenever somebody reads an article or reads a technical piece from a company, um, it's a building step to build trust between that reader and the brand itself. So when you start publishing low quality content, it kills the long term trust that that brand has built with this audience, and that will be very bad for your company. And so you do not want that. And so, lastly, legal and ethical responsibility. Do not spread misinformation about your company, and also try to uphold copyrights and to be of industry standard, to make sure that you are not writing dummy, or you are not writing jargons that do not really appeal to your company, is not up to the standard of what your company does, or LLMs are like you know copywriting somebody else's content and giving it to you. So these are some of the reasons why you have to be good at prompt engineering when writing a technical piece, and to make sure that okay, it's as effective as possible. So let's now see, how do you prompt an LLM model to be able to, like, okay, come up with an article that is quite good and all that. So a couple of things I do depending on the tool I'm using. So I've used a couple of tools, and I've kind of stick to just two right now, which is one is Chat GPT. So Chat GPT is one, and ChatGPT is one of the tools I use, which is quite good actually. It's quite good for prompting and things like that. But then I've also realized that Cloud AI is way more efficient when it comes to writing code or reviewing technical pieces. It's way more efficient. It reasons better way more than ChatGPT. I feel like ChatGPT is mostly used for the English part, and then for the technical part, you jump down to Claude. But you can just stick to Claude. Me, I mostly like to combine both, but if you say I should pick one to stick with, I think I can stick with Claude. So um, there are various settings you can do to your chat gpt when you're using an AI to like chat gpt for prompt engineering. So the first one is when you go to settings and go to personalization, you'll be able to personalize your ChatGPT to choose how you want it to respond, and the kind of traits you want it to be, the occupation you want it to have, and also the interest or things to keep in mind. And so these are things for customizing it to make sure that okay, is able to like think and is able to function as a senior software engineer. For example, we can like say it should be friendly, it should be this, and then for occupation we can say that oh, he's a senior software engineer or he's a senior technical writer with engineering experience in JavaScript, Python, and Node.js and things like that. And also it should then, you should provide more info about you. Okay, you're a technical writer, you have this, you work at XYZ company, and you have this and that, and things like that. So providing all of this personalization will help you to like will help you and ChatGPT to know where you're coming from and where you're heading to in terms of the prompt that you want to provide. And then another thing that I find useful is more like so there's also another settings called projects, called yeah, projects. Yes, projects. So I think this project, I'm not sure if this is for free users, but I'm using the premium version. I've been using it for a while, and it's like this. So let's I'll click on new project. So we can call this tech writing, tech writing. We create this project, and now when we create a new project, we then need to like edit the project and provide as many contexts as much as possible. Oh crap! Okay, so I made a mistake while creating this project just now. So yeah, so when I create a new project, I click on this dots here, edit instruction. So here I can provide as many contexts as much as possible and tell it to do things and do things very differently and things like that. So I kept saying, like a while back, I kept saying that context is king when you're using AI for LLMs for prompting. And I'll show you the prompt that I use. This is more like a combination of, okay, the guidelines my company has in terms of how we write articles, and also from my own personal experience as well of using AI tools and how they work. So permit me, I'm trying to get used to this glass design and I can't find my notes here anymore. Okay, so let's look for it. Notes. Yep. So this is it, and so this is the prompt I use for providing as many contexts as possible when creating. So I create a new project, and so yeah, this is not prompt. This is like the instruction I have. So I want you to draft an article as a senior technical writer with decades of experience, of developer experience, JavaScript and TypeScript specifically. And each article you have should follow this tune. So this is more like a guideline on the tune I want it to follow, how I want it to sound, how it should be inclusive and accessible, innovative, excited about change, and have, you know, my company's tone of voice to reflect our brand identity, and some things you should avoid. So you should avoid overuse of humor, avoid formally or corporate languages, things like that. And then these are just like some of them. And then there are specific words that when they're in an article, somebody will quickly tell that, oh, this is AI generated. There's nothing you're going to tell me. So in order not for those words not to happen, this is what I use. I tend to like remove these words when providing the instruction, and I'll say in the article, avoid words like overly enthusiastic, being fantastic, magnificent, extraordinary, spectacular, things like that. Overuse introductory phrases in the world of this, in the realm of this, in the context of this, in today's world, in today's industry, in today's technology, blah, blah, blah. It should strip all of those words out. And then it should also remove AI indicative words like game changing, revolutionary, transformative. These words are what somebody will see and say, guy, you don't chat GPT this article up. So for somebody not to tell us that, we want to strip those words from the article. And then things like this it should not be overly positive. Yes, we want it to be positive, but it should not be doing life changing and out of this world, one of a kind answer. So instead, it should give us precise, clear language that directly communicate the value and functionality of the product that we're talking about without any fools or anything like that. And then the article should be developer focused and should always be in a second person perspective. So it's long, but it provides ChatGPT with all of the context that we need. And then when we start prompting it to like write an article for us, it won't start hallucinating. So this is more like just the basics. So if you want to provide something like a documentation and things you should generate the article of, you can also provide it as well. But this is just like an example of, okay, how the kind of context that you can provide. So this is long, yes, I would say, but when you provide this context, when you provide this as instructions, ChatGPT will then understand how to generate content for you next, and it will generate better content, better articles. Sorry. So let's try. We can try this out. We can try this out and say, okay, um, generate an outline for how to optimize images for the web. It should be it should be short yet detailed and developer focused. So we want to use it to generate an outline, and we'll see the difference between, okay, randomly clicking this. Okay, I think we should try generating an article first from, without using the new project that we wrote. So here's an article, and then look at this one. Yeah, this is fine. It generated the article outline, and then this is quite long actually, and it's developer focused actually. This is okay, which is okay. It's okay, but let's go back to the project that we already have, and then let's do the same, give it the same prompt as well. Now this is going to take some time because it actually goes through this thing. Now, can you see that this is short? Can you see that it's doing the same thing, but at the same time this same outline has more detailed and it's more focused, more like a, you know, a blog post that is a bit ready to publish. So you won't compare the outline that was generated here that provided us with everything that we need to write the article, to this one that was generated in terms of like half. This is half baked actually, I would say. This is half baked. It was just going from here, from choosing the right image to just popping out some code samples and things like that. So context is everything, I would say. And when you provide a lot of context to chat gpt, it starts getting better in how, on how it can, like, write an article for you, and the tone that you want and things like that. So if I should tell it to generate this article for me, um, if I should tell it to generate this article for me, you will see that, okay, write the article itself, itself, and provide examples for each section. Now, if you should write the article itself, you notice that a lot of things won't be here in today's world. In a fast-paced technology, image optimization is key. It won't be here. Instead, it will be and have. It won't be a complete published, a complete article, but it's going to be, an article that is well detailed, very friendly, and then it has all the details you want. Take, for example, the introduction, and it says whether you are building a sleek landing page or media heavy product dashboard, image performance plays a huge role in how fast or smooth your app feels. Optimizing images, blah blah blah. So grab your tea, get cozy. We're breaking down how to optimize images for the web in a way that is both efficient and developer friendly, examples included. So you can see that this is actually an article that, you know, you can use this as the basic point for writing this article. It works well, it works very fine, and it's something that you can consider. So um this is how I sort of like provide context and provide things like that. So I use ChatGPT a lot, but at the same time, I feel like what's it called? Claude is way more efficient in terms of technical articles. So I'm going to show you guys that as well before we, open the floors for questions and we move on to other things. So I use Copilot for you for writing, for working with Claude. And the cool thing about this is when you're writing for in Markdown files, Claude is here. You can create it, you can use it, you can provide context, you can provide it with your documentation and things like that. And you can also configure it. So manage chat, no, not here. So when we say add context, click on instructions, configure instruction, create a new instruction file, and we want to say guideline. We call this guidelines, and inside of here we can provide the guideline instruction on everything we want. So the thing what we made then, like this whole guideline of what we want, we can add this to our instruction .md file, and Claude will follow this instruction whenever we're asking it question, or whenever we're prompting it. This way it will be able to provide us with more effective articles that, straight, they're straight to the point and they cover everything we need. So these are just like some of the ways you could like apply context into your prompting in order to generate more quality articles, in order to generate more prompts and things like that. So um yeah. And where's the other thing again? There was something I'm supposed to cover. And yeah, so some best practices you can follow in general while using AI in order, to be a responsible user for AI is that whenever you've generated an article or a draft or something like that, um, whenever you've generated an article or a draft or something like that, always review the AI output. Review it to know if it's something that you want, if it's something that your article that will enhance your article. Make sure that you review it thoroughly and it's not AI just hallucinating and trying to like create jargons for you. And another thing you should do is prioritize human values. Ensure that the article that you're creating is one helpful, it's original, and it puts people first. It's not just blabbing around things on what happens or you're talking about. So it should be that the article should be focused that, oh, you're trying to help a developer, you're trying to help another developer achieve something. Put yourself in that perspective. You'll be able to like prioritize human values and tailor your AI to follow that same pattern as well. And then SEO people always have this EEAT principle that you should always follow when you're writing an article. Make sure that your article always follow this standard. So that how you can do this is by ensuring your content is optimized for SEO and it includes all the relevant keywords and entities and things like that. And then ensure that each article you write covers the following. It shows an expertise, it shows your experience. It also shows the authority in terms of, okay, this is an original content that has not been published anywhere like this. And then it also shows the trustworthiness that, okay, I can be trusted, or you can trust this article to provide you with the accurate facts. And this is not something that was generated by an AI model that is hallucinating. It's actually written by a human and things like that. And this is very important when you're writing sensitive or very complex topics. So there are specific topics where AI cannot really explain them. You have to explain them yourself. And then there's something I also notice is that when using AI, maybe you create the first draft and you're trying to like explain a concept. There's one thing AI usually does. It tends to summarize most things a lot. So um, we'll talk about that in terms of like the strategies as well. So another thing is maintain your brand's voice. Ensure your AI generated articles reflect your brand voice, your style, and your messaging. So it should always sound human and consistent with your company's content standards. And so do not put confidential and internal or your customer information into public AI tools. They will use them for training data, so do not put them, please. So some strategies you can follow is, if you want to explain each individual concept, you want AI to explain it better. You should be as detailed as possible and pick each section to prompt an AI model to do. So explain individual concept or set of its sentences as detailed as possible so it can provide you with more information about that specific area. So this is just my personal preference. I'll tell you to use Claude 4 for code and more technical concept as it performs better in terms of, when I say technical concept, technical, very technical articles, documentation that are very technical if you want to use AI for that. And always read and review and reiterate your prompt so it gets better. So while you're trying to be descriptive as possible, there are certain times where you're not explaining it better. So keep reiterating, keep like re-asking the questions or re-providing them again. AI will try to like learn from your context, your iteration, and things like that. It will provide you with more better information. So um the last thing I want to say is that AI is just a powerful assistant that can help you write better articles. It's not a replacement for your expertise. So you should create real valuable and human centered content that are also optimized for SEO, for GEO, and for AI models as well. So do not see AI as a replacement for your skill set. Instead, it's an assistant. An assistant only assists you in doing things. It doesn't do everything for you. You are the one who still decides how you want it to be done, how it should be done, and what quality should be the output of it. So that is all I have to say for today. And thank you all for listening to me yapping, yapping, yapping. So, yeah, thank you. I think I can stop sharing my screen right now.
Hey, thank you so much, Jamie. It's the way you said yapping, yapping, yapping for me. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. We've been having people join hop in and hop out. Today has been really crazy because of the whole rain and internet. So I'm hoping that more people will get to watch this on later on. Thank you so much for um sharing all that. I do have some questions for you in form of a fireside. So, but before I proceed, I know at some point you did mention, you said, do not use AI to write your full article. So I just need a bit of clarity on that. As well, as a technical writer, let me use the personal for technical writers. As a technical writer, at what point should I use AI? If that makes sense. You're muted.
My bad. Sorry. So I think I sort of like touched this at the beginning part of it. So use AI for specific cases where I think I should just turn and go back. When you're trying to like generate an outline for your article, when you're finding content ideas, you're trying to optimize for SEO, and when you're generating your first draft. So, okay, you need this topic. For example, the instruction I just gave you to, write an article about optimizing images for the web. That's just like that article it wrote is the first draft, is the first iteration of that article. It gives you an overview of what you should be focusing on. Okay, so this is what I should be talking about. I should be talking about how this does this, how it affects SEO, how it affects web performance, and things like that. So that will give you an idea of, okay, so this is what I should be talking about. So that is the first draft. Is the most of the times it's literally the hardest thing to first draft out when you're writing an article. So but when you're able to draft that out, you can then move on from there to improving on that draft, adding more context, adding examples, rewarding things, and also like changing the structure and also changing the instructions on. And you can even edit the sections if you don't like them, and provide other things as well. So those are some of the things you can use AI for.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so I know you have already touched on this in your session. So I'm just going to move to the next question. So, how do you handle inconsistencies, aka hallucinations in AI responses when documenting something highly technical? I know you have touched a bit on this, but then is it even possible for one to know that or want to know when AI is hallucinating, or you have to just double check everything?
So the thing is, so that is why I said like AI is not a replacement for technical writers. So as a technical writer, you have the technical knowledge one, and also you have the experience of writing two. So you actually, when you ask ChatGPT or Claude to generate something for you, and it generates a code sample or something that hallucinated it, you actually know, because this is not the actual fact, this is not correct. So you have to check that. And also when you see that, you can also provide one of the ways to reduce hallucination is to provide as many contexts as possible. So probably you're writing an article on um, how to build a blog with Next.js and direct to CMS, something like that. So go through the documentation from the Directive CMS, go through the documentation from Next.js, provide those documentations to ChatGPT or to Claude, whatever AI tool you're using, provide it to them, provide those documentation instructions to it, so it can sort of like provide more context onto, okay, this is how this tool can be used, and also this is how I can use it. And that would like sort of like help to reduce the hallucination. So when you it generates something that it's hallucinating, you can tell it that it's hallucinating. This is more context about the documentation or what you're writing about and things like that. It should go through it and also come up with a better solution. And yeah, that can work.
Thank you so much. Okay, so my next question for you: what's the balance between relying on AI and preserving a writer's own expertise and style? And I must also add voice, because the writers have certain patterns of how they write. So how can you still preserve that originality while using AI?
Yeah, so I think the instruction sample I gave sort of showed how I sort of add like my own voice as a set of instructions to AI tools, so they won't like throw away my voice and start generating voices they like or their own expertise and style. So the first thing you need to do is when providing an instruction before even prompting it. So providing instructions is way different from prompting it. So that those instructions you'll be providing, that is where you set the tone of your voice. If you're a very friendly writer, you tell it to be as friendly as possible. You should avoid being formal and using corporate languages and things like that. It should be
Mhm,
as friendly as possible. Give it examples on how it should write them and things like that. And also after you've generated like your article, generated your draft, or generated whatever, even if it's just like a section that you were generating, review that as well to know if it covers, if it's resound or if it sounds like your brand's voice. You always have to review that so it doesn't come off as, okay, um, why is this person talking like this? They don't usually talk like this. So what's changed? The funny thing is that readers often know when something has changed. And then sometimes one of the important thing why you have to review is that if you don't review, there are certain areas where it will actually follow through with your brand's voice, and all of a sudden somewhere it can just flip off and goes back to its default settings, and things like that. So you have to cross check to make sure that, oh, that brand voice is consistent, and that style of how you write, how you guys write, using first or second person sentence and things like that. This sentence or pronoun? Wow, I'm dumb tonight. So you know, you understand. So it follows those instructions and make sure that, okay, the article you're generating is quite good as well. So yeah, that
mhm.
is how you like kind of create that balance.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right. So, my next question for you: how do you see prompt engineering shaping the future of technical writing as a profession?
Hmm. So to answer this question, I feel in general it's not just technical writing. It goes beyond just technical writing anymore. I feel like prompt engineering is really changing a lot of things. So before now, you used to have there's this writer's block and things like that. And okay, so you spend days coming up with topic ideas or content ideas that you want to write about. You start thinking, where do I start from, and things like that. But now you can just tell ChatGPT that, oh, you want to write an article for beginners. It should focus on XYZ topic and focus on XYZ tools. It should generate 50 to 100 topic ideas that you
Mm-hmm.
could start with. And I mean, out of that 50, you could literally see 10 very good ones that you can start from. So it's actually changing things in terms of making work very fast. So my company does the company where I work, we are not against using AI for generating your first draft and things like that. I mean, everybody encourages it. Even our SEO team encourages using AI to generate things. The only thing is that they make sure that, oh, you're not removing yourself from the article. you should still provide that your subject expertise and things like that to show that okay, this is a solid article. So prompt engineering is like changing a lot of things, especially in the tech space. So technical writing is not left behind. It's changing how we write content, how fast we ship content, and is making sure that okay, the content that we're writing dished out as fast as possible, which is a very good thing. It's now left for you to use that same power to sort of like tailor it to your needs and
Mhm.
to make sure that it's giving you the best result as much as possible.
Hmm. I mean, while I agree with that, I have a little challenge somewhere. Don't you think that if like the continuous use of AI to keep generating ideas of articles and all, don't you think at some point it's going to be overly saturated? Like you're going to have similar ideas come up in different searches. So let's say like 10,000 people worldwide are searching for ideas on how to write for on a particular API or a particular topic, for instance. Don't you think that eventually it's going to keep generating similar ideas? You are
I'm
muted.
muted. Sorry. So the funny thing about that is, whatever idea you've thought about,
Mm,
whatever idea you've thought about in terms of technical writing, like, oh, I want to write about how to build authentication in React. Like a
mm-hmm.
million people already they've also thought about that as well. A million people in
Okay.
the world have thought about that as well. They've thought about
Yeah.
writing that, and it's very possible that there are over 10,000 drafts on the internet already about how to build an authentication in React. Now,
Yeah.
where it becomes very different is you bringing your own experience and also
Mm-hmm.
bringing your own expertise, your own writing style, and also your own tune and voice into the same topic and then writing it in a way that you understand it. Now AI can help you sort of like refine it a bit, but majority of the work still has to be done by you. You still have to like write it in a tone that okay, it resonates with you and is actually a piece that you want to own.
Mm-hmm.
So AI can help you with those ideas, it can help you with things like that. I'm not sure that. So whatever ideas AI will generate to you, you should always refine them. You shouldn't stop there. Okay, it gives you this topic to write about authentication. So okay, I can write about authentication, but in a real world scenario where I'm building an authentication system in React, I would
Mm-hmm.
use, for example, if I'm using Next.js, I'll use Next.auth. I will work with sessions and things like that. I would integrate a third party API or something like that. I would want to use, try to bring real life experience into whatever articles that you're writing. It's okay to be generated at first by AI, but when you start bringing real life experience and real life problems and scenarios, that is where um, you go beyond just writing AI generated articles. It then
Yeah.
becomes something, okay, it's something that has this human experience and human connection with. That is what people read. That is
Mm-hmm.
what Google AI or Google crawlers will see as an original content and they will index. The reason is
Yeah.
because a lot of people generate a lot of crap articles and just dump them on the internet, of which Google crawlers are now intelligent enough to know that, oh, this was just generated. Let's just leave it there. That person
Yeah.
that generated it, let's leave it there like that. And so even SEO crawlers, AI crawlers as well, they also tend to look for articles that are not AI generated, but instead articles that have like real world experience into it, embedded into it. That is what they look for to learn from and also to create their own answers for others as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
what
at
I
what
think.
point do you draw the line by saying this is an AI generated article and this is an original article?
So an AI generated article doesn't have one, a direction of where it's going to. It will give you an overview of or something. I'm serious. It doesn't have a direction. It will give you an overview of something. At best, it will try to provide you with examples. Some of the
Mhm.
examples doesn't make sense, but then it will also like tend to. It provides you with facts. It's mostly about. It's as if it's just telling you facts. It's not like
Yeah.
it's telling you. It's taking you on a story that, oh, imagine this scenario that you get here, you move here, you encounter here. This is how you solve this. This is how you decide on which is which, and this is how you move on into like picking a tool or picking the conclusion or picking what it is for you. So
Mhm.
you will feel that connection missing. You will always feel that connection missing from an article that was not, that doesn't have any human intervention or any human edits in it. You always feel that connection missing. But a human article, we humans, we often write things as stories. We tend to tell stories like, oh, have you been trying to build XYZ and things like that and encountered XYZ problem? Let me show you how you can fix it. AI won't tell you how you can. Here I won't take you on that story kind of journey, actually.
Yeah.
So that
That's
is where
true.
you draw the line. When your article starts sounding very robotic and they start sounding like, oh, there's no story behind it, there's no journey on how you can get the user from point A to point B, then you
Yeah.
should take a step back and sort of settle down and review your article properly.
Thank you. Okay, so my last question for you. This might lead to some other follow-up questions, and this is me trying to be as inclusive as possible because I know that there are people that are currently watching this live stream and will eventually watch this live stream that are a bit curious on how to get started in technical writing. And for most people, or the way technical writing has been portrayed in general, people there are two sets of people: the ones that believe that they can just, as long as they know how to write, they just need to have an idea of how most programming languages work, and then they go ahead and start writing. And then there's also the other set of people that believe that they have to learn how to code, like they have to start from that whole coding space first before deciding to be a technical writer. So my question for you now, for all of these people that fall under the different umbrellas, how can one actually get started in technical writing, and do they have to learn how to code, or you just start writing away?
Okay, so I'll be honest. Um, so my quick answer is yes, you have to learn how to code. You literally can't teach somebody something you don't know. That's what I would say. So technical writing is writing, but it's not just writing pieces. It's actually writing technical articles and technical stuff. So you need to be technical to an extent. And one thing I've realized is that employers and those who employ technical writers, they would often prioritize someone that has an engineering experience over somebody who does not have one. The reason is because they believe that person has that technical expertise to explain a topic or a concept because they've been in that situation before, or they understand what it means to be in that situation, and they can see things from the developer's perspective to be able to explain that concept. So to be a technical writer, first you have to be technical. You need to know how to write code. You need to know how to build an application. You need to know how to use a tool or something, or what you'll be writing about. You need to know how to use it to build something. Sometimes the article you might be writing might not be about how to use a tool, might be how to solve a specific problem that you might encounter while using the tool. So if you're not a technical person, maybe you're writing how to build something and then you encounter a specific error. How do you solve that error? Yes, there's ChatGPT to assist with debugging and things like that. But how do you tell your user that, oh, while building this you encounter this error and this is how you solve it? The best articles are articles that they come from that perspective of you have that development experience and you start providing examples or you start providing solutions that can help your readers solve the problem. Sometimes there are multiple ways to solve a specific bug or a specific issue when building, and then when you start telling the users that, oh, if we try this first method, this is what will happen and this is what we'll get. if we go to this other method, this is what will happen, this is what we'll get, and the best method to use is this one, and things like that. It
Mm-hmm.
provides it. It does two things. One, it shows the reader that, oh, you explaining this, you have that experience, you've been there, you've built this before, so you know what you're talking about, it which helps to build the trust they have in your articles. And also it also provides them with that experience that, okay, you're providing more value to them, and they'll definitely want to read more pieces that you provide. So to be a technical writer, first you need to have the technical experience, and when you have the technical experience, you can then add writing to it. So I would say it's quite easy for anyone who is already a developer to get into technical writing. The easiest way to get into technical writing for anyone who is already a developer is, think of a problem that you've encountered while working as a developer. What were the issues you've encountered before, that you googled, that you tried to look for that answer online, you were looking for that answer and you did not find it, or maybe you found an article that somebody wrote about that answer, it wasn't as satisfactory enough as you expected. So think of that problem that you encountered and write an article that you wish you saw earlier while you were learning or while you were building something. That article that about that authentication system that you you wish someone emphasized on the loopholes while using that specific tool. Write that article somewhere. You will be surprised that there are thousands of others like you that are looking for that same solution, and you're also making sure that when somebody encounters that same problem as well, they don't go they don't have to go through what you went through. So that is the easiest way to like get into technical writing. Write about things that you've encountered before. Write about things that the issues you faced. You're trying a new tool, you're trying to build something with it. Write about it and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it's that is how you can get into technical writing, really.
All right. So follow up and last question for today. What are your thoughts on niching out as a technical writer? I know this is very dicey. We have set of technical writers that work on um, education, tutorials, articles, how to's, and then there's also the people, technical writers that specifically focus on documentation. So, what's your general thoughts on that? Do technical writers have different niches that they need to focus on, or is just going to be an all-round umbrella? As I'm coming into the technical writing industry, I just need to learn this and that and that and that, and um, not having it. And then, okay, once you answer that, I may have a follow up question about searching for jobs on that, looking at the different segmentation. So, yeah, let's go with this first.
So I think what you should do is, if you one thing I've realized is that if you specialize too quickly, you shoot yourself in your legs on the legs.
Mm.
Or how's that English supposed to go?
Shoot
Like if you
yourself.
specialize too quickly, it's going
Yeah.
to impact your career, because there will be certain roles that you know you can actually take on, but because you're specialized on just documentation, you can't handle them and things like that. So what I would advise is try to explore.
Mm.
There are different kinds of technical articles or technical content. Try to explore marketing content, which are like, introduction content, brand awareness kind of content. Try to write those content and see how impactful they are, and if you're actually good with it. It should be something that you should have in your experience. Also try to write documentation content, API references and things like that, and just play around all the different forms of technical content around. This will give you a broader understanding of various things. One, it will give you an understanding on how you can use content to attract somebody and then move that person into the marketing funnel. Yeah, that's what it's called. The marketing funnel, like, okay, from brand awareness to customer
Mhm.
acquisition, from customer acquisition to customer retainment, from retainment from to them being an ambassador for a product and things like that. When you write various kind of content, it will give you that perspective and you get to understand how a product actually acquires users using with content, and how they tend to stay and interact with your product based on your content. It will give you the various experience that you need to cover for all kinds of technical writing jobs, and would also help you to it will also help to broaden your perspective as to how you see developers, or how you see users as well.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's
That's
after you've spent a couple of time, writing this kind of content, you can then specialize that. Oh, I want to focus on marketing content. It's
mhm.
fine. I want to focus on documentation alone, which is fine. Whichever one you choose, go for it.
Okay. Thank you so much. So my last question for today.
Hmm.
I know I said last the last time. I promise this is the last.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, how can technical writers structure their portfolio? Especially people that are just getting started in technical writing. Maybe they've learned how to code, um, and they've also written a couple of articles. How do they structure their portfolio slash resume to attract opportunities or at least look good in front of recruiters?
Yeah, so most recruiters, when looking for a technical writer, most jobs out there in terms of technical writing, it's either one of two, which is you to join a marketing team to write marketing and educational content, or to join a product team to write about documentation of the product. So um, the way you can tailor your resume is to actually, I think for beginners, if you're just starting out, it's most likely that you write a lot of blog posts, and which oftentimes they are more like marketing kind of contents. So what you should do is, what you can do is go in depth in terms of the blog post that you have. Go in depth, like dish out more technical blog posts or more technical kind of posts, so as to show your expertise and also your domain knowledge. It will help whoever wants to review your resume to see that, okay, you've written articles that are really in depth before, that are really technical. So that will help to convince them and things like that. So, and then if you can contribute to open source, if you can contribute to open source documentation aspect where possible. But if you can't, focus on like dishing out those kind of in-depth technical articles. And then if you've had the opportunity to work at the documentation before, you should also resonate that in your resume. So why structuring your resume? Structure it as, okay, you dished out technical guides and tutorials about, the in-depth, about XYZ tool that led to XYZ customer acquisition. The cool thing about technical writing and for beginners is that you see those marketing content are one of the easiest content that can help to bring new customers, bring users and things like that. So they are the content that helps to, like, raise users for a specific product. So, which is quite good, as you can use them as a boosting metric when structuring your resume. So, if you don't have any documentation experience, but you still want to prove your technical expertise, I would advise you go very technical into the blog posts and articles that you write, so as to convince, your future employer that, oh, you can actually do this, you can actually write their pieces for them.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Jamie, for taking our time to come on this live stream to share knowledge with us on prompt engineering for technical writers, and also having the time to answer a few more questions that we had today. Um, so, for everyone watching or will be watching, if you still have follow up questions or comments, feel free to drop them. We'll still get to them as we progress. And if you also have ideas of any content, video, or stuff you'd like to watch in general, also let me know. I'll try my possible best to bring in experienced speakers and professionals to handle those topics. All right, so we are officially at the end of today's live stream. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to as many people as possible. Jamie, do you have any final words for us before you go?
No, nothing. I just want to tell them to like and subscribe to your channel. So please like and subscribe to Mofuna Bong's channel, which is good.
Thank you so much. And yeah, bye everyone.
Yeah, bye.